Insightful, engaging, dynamic, authentic, empowering, informative, transformative, controversial, unbiased, impactful. This is Politics Aside with Release Brooks. It's so amazing to be back. Politics Aside, episode 3. Yeah. First of all, thank you everyone who has been encouraging me. It means the world to me. I really appreciate it because most of the time it's very random. Like you hit me up on Instagram and you're like, I see what you're doing, continue doing it, keep pushing. Yesterday, my friends and I, we went to the Barbados Labour Party's 85th annual conference, and the party leader, Prime Minister Mia Mottley, she mentioned the Bridgetown Initiative numerous times. And after the conference, one of my friends was like, oh my gosh, Release, if it wasn't for you, I would be so lost. And so I'm so glad I did that Bridgetown Initiative episode a few weeks ago. But today, it's freelance, baby. Because so many things have happened over the past 2 weeks within the Caribbean. Today, we're just going to have a conversation. We're just going to have a conversation today. I want to hear from you. I'm going to run through a bit of what Prime Minister Mottley discussed yesterday at her convention. It wasn't a typical rah-rah-ree-ree noisy Labour Party convention or conference. She was very serious. The message was, some say it was a solemn message, some say it was a hopeful message, but I think at the end of the day, what we took away from that conference is that whether solemn or hopeful, it's definitely a serious time. We are in serious times, and I think what she tried to do is remain realistic and hopeful in the face of many challenges. She did not pretend. She went straight to the facts. If she spent 2 minutes talking about the opposition, she did a lot. And we're going to come to that. But props to Prime Minister Mottley. I mean, after that, we went to Oystons and I met a few Barbadians and I, asked them their thoughts. Like, what do you think about how the country's running, etc.? And the consensus is that they are trying. They are trying. And I can agree based on the facts she brought of where the debt was to where it is now, and the work she has been doing on the international stage. She has been making some strides, although these strides might be latent to the public, because it really gets into the nitty-gritty. One of the things I want to just discuss with us that has been on my mind is the matter of apathy, the indifference to voting and elections and politics. And I understand when people say, I don't want to get involved in politics. I've said that numerous times. But I'm getting at the age and stage where I notice anybody who says they don't want to get involved in politics, they're not about politics, they're not for politics, is delusional. You're not protected. You're not immune. We are not protected. We are not immune. I'm at the stage where I'm noticing that everything that goes on in Parliament, whether we understand it or not, is affecting us and will affect us either in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, or even 15 years. And so I really want us, especially my generation and below, basically anybody between the ages of even 16 to 60, we have to pay attention. We have to start tuning in to what is happening in our countries. And I'm passionate about the Caribbean. This is where I was born, raised, educated, lived. My family, my friends, majority of my friends are here. I'm telling you, I know that politics can seem murky. And trust me, it can be murky. But as far as voting goes, we need to use that. We need to use that. It matters. So many people think that their one vote doesn't matter. It matters. So many people think that their one voice doesn't matter. It matters. And if everybody keeps thinking that they don't matter, nobody will show up. And that's the problem I believe we are facing. From what I'm seeing, Caribbean politics is, let me not say politics, Caribbean democracy is under a threat. If we look around the Caribbean countries, where are the opposition parties? Non-existent, very weak, fighting, divided, locking out each other out of their own conferences. Snap elections are being called, by the way, because the opposition parties are not ready, and the parties in government are now using this to their advantage. Hello? Wake up. I don't have a script today. All I have is a concern. And that is my concern. We need to start rebuilding Caribbean democracy. And it has to start now. It has to start with us. It has to start with the students at the UWI, the students at the colleges, the community colleges, even in high school. Like, we need to begin to inculcate the significance of political rights, the significance of voting. I mean, not voting is like spitting in adult suffrage, the face of adult suffrage, the face of people who fought for us to have voting rights. And now we have it, we're not using it. It means nothing to us. And I understand that over the years, politicians, they come, they go, they make promises, break those promises, and it's like a new cycle. But what I saw last night at the Barbados Labour Party's conference, and then Mayor Motley's message, is a call for newness, a needed newness. And Motley's message embodied womanhood so much. And that's why we need more women in politics. But we need women who aren't afraid to do it their way. We need women who aren't afraid to bring their womanhood to politics. It's not a fight. We need resiliency. Women have that. We need people to inspire hope, faith, love, have compassion. These are all the things she talked about. And so we need more women in politics. I think Mayor Motley is a good woman leader in our time. She spoke about the influence Henry Ford had on her. And I think Henry Ford was one of the pillars of the Barbados Labour Party. And what Henry Ford was to her, I think Mia Motley can be to so many of us. And I'm not saying that she's perfect. One of my friends told me some years ago that perfection is less than human. We are better than that. We are better than that because we have the ability to change. We have the ability to converse with each other. We have the ability to go back and forth. We have the ability to invite wisdom. We have the ability to engage with new knowledge, new information, and be innovative. So, really don't need perfection. We can literally create the world we want. And that is what Mia Motley's message, I think, was about for the first part, for the most part, last night. And it really resonated with me. But I really wanted to encourage us to begin to pay attention with what is happening in our countries. And I speak specifically to our Caribbean region. And so last night, what I saw was Motley putting politics aside because we are in very serious times. And everybody is in their own little world. And so we might not notice certain things. But again, I implore all of us, please. And I too will try to do my part in bringing you information and trying to put it across as smoothly as I possibly can. And that is why I continuously ask for your engagement. Like, let's have a discussion so you can understand and share it with somebody else because one person cannot do it alone. I know I am not all of politics aside. There's so many people who tune in and then tell their friends and have discussions in their own little groups. And that's how it starts. And that's where it starts. And that's where we want it to go. We need political mobilization in the Caribbean. We need to bring back a robust civil society. And we need to bring back civic engagement. And I am starting here. And I am willing, any political party wanting actual change and wanting to see actual change, you have to mobilize people. You can't just do it from behind a podium. Mia Motley's message was excellent. And there were 4 law students sitting in the row wanting her to wrap up. Because it's only so much one can consume at a time, especially that kind of information. So, as good as that message was, it needs agents, delivery agents, to continuously push out that message, to continuously let the people of Barbados know what is happening with their economy and what her and her cabinet colleagues are doing to make things better. Because at the end of the day, no matter how nasty it can get, and it's the people who make it that way. Nothing by nature of its own, on its own. I mean, Hobbes will disagree. Hobbes would say, humans in or the state of nature naturally is a mess. Fair enough. But what I'm trying to say is we make things what they are. We give too much power away. We really give too much power away. Politics doesn't have to be nasty. It doesn't have to be dirty. It is the people involved who make it that way. politics has always been, in my view, and I don't see it changing, about people. And at the end of the day, we are trying to build better people, better societies, better institutions. We're trying to grow our economy. We're trying to see an increase in our revenues. We want better infrastructure. We want quality education. We want zero poverty. We want innovation. We want an advance in technology. All the wonderful things that the sustainable development goals are about. We actually want that. And at the end of the day, it boils down to proper policy. But so many times, politics murks it, because of the mentality of the people. And again, we really have to get involved. I am begging at this point for every single person, as far as you can, try to understand what is happening in your country. It's important. It will affect you at the end of the day. So many people say politics have nothing to do with you, and wrong answer. It has everything to do with you. Because at the end of the day, I didn't want to mention this, but a few days ago, our Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis gave us CBI numbers. And we saw an unfortunately drastic decrease in CBI revenues for 2024 because of quote unquote policy reform they sold to us that were necessary for the program. But how can that be true when the OECS 5, which is every OECS territory that operates a CBI program, is working on a single reform? I'm going to leave that there because that is just a whole. St. Kitts and Nevis needs an episode for itself. Because what we are seeing, I really don't want to talk about this because it's so painful. It's so painful, and I can only pray and hope that we rise again. But as I was saying, politics affects us all. It will affect our children, and it will affect our children's children and so many other generations to come. Because whether politics, people, or policy, one thing for sure is that the rise and fall of a nation is hinged on its leadership. Wars start and end because of leaders. Poverty starts and ends because of leaders. Prosperity starts and ends because of leaders. And we here in the Western world, the Commonwealth Caribbean, we have the privilege, we have the opportunity to choose, select, elect our leaders carefully, and we don't. We are wasting away our rights, wasting away centuries of what our forefathers have fought for. I think it's time that comes to an end. We need to understand what is happening and how everything affects us. Everybody has a different interest. I might be interested in the creative arts. Somebody else might be interested in sports. I dare you to judge your government. It's your government. They don't rule themselves. As much as they pretend and act and go on as if they rule themselves, they don't. We put them there. You put them there, here in the Caribbean. And I'm stressing that here in the Caribbean, because not every country has this privilege. And what I'm seeing happening in the Caribbean right now, I don't know if they want to make it a democratic dictatorship, but I can guarantee them that Caribbean people, we're not going to let that happen. Marcus Garvey worked too hard for us to go back. Bob Marley got shot for what? Nothing? No. We now have to start taking a stock. Caribbean politicians, Caribbean leaders are getting away with democratic murder. Not wanting to be held accountable, not wanting to be held answerable to the people they ask to make them accountable and make them answerable. What? Nah. I think we're in a ripe time, and the best time for us to see a change. No one is alone. So many times people think they're the only one who want that change. You're not the only one. People are not speaking up because they think they are the only one. You're not the only one. And you don't have to be afraid. There's no reason to be afraid. And I know so many people are afraid of being politically victimized, but that will come to an end very soon, because that should not be tolerable anywhere in the world, and especially not here in the Caribbean. That will come to an end very soon. I see Transparency International doing some work in Jamaica. They're going to come to the OECS countries very soon. I tell you, we don't have to be afraid. We don't have to be afraid. God is love, and perfect love casts out fear. We have to start rebuilding back our countries by choosing capable, compassionate, wise leaders. Leaders who are willing to learn. Leaders who would at least get reasonable and experienced advisors. Leaders who have a heart for people. Leaders who understand what time we are in. We are in very serious time. Every Caribbean leader needs to buckle down right now and take a stock. And that is the message Prime Minister Motley brought last night. And that is to show you that is a leader who is in tune with what is happening in the world. And we know that if there is one leader who is in tune what is happening with the world, is Mayor Motley. Time has come for accountability, and time has come for us to restore our democracies across the Caribbean. I will do my part, and I will help to mobilize others, especially those of my generation, because we want better and we want good for our people, our family, our friends. We want good for everybody, basically, because at the end of the day, we are a community, we are a society, we are a nation. And as we know it too well, there is much strength in unity. And we need unity again. That was Politics Aside, and I'll see you very soon. Ciao. Insightful, engaging, dynamic, authentic, empowering, informative, transformative, controversial, unbiased, impactful. This is Politics Aside with Release Brooks.